Alright, this is our second of 5 videos on how to do the elements of platform games. And we're just hitting some real simple ones here to get you started. So if you're new, then keep it up and just follow along. And if you're getting pretty sharp and tricky with it, then you could, of course, go to their the help page, and there's a whole section of helpful examples. And these are all kind of cool. They're all single scene, like focused on one thing and all, like switches and doors and keys. So if you want to be sharp and just like bound beyond me because it's too easy, feel free and show me what you did. But you still got to do show me 5 elements. So with this one, I'm going to go to game levels. So we already made one before. I'm going to make a new level right here. Click new level, and I'm going to name this one level 2, or element 2, or sample 2. Level 2. I can type. I totally can. And I'm going to copy and paste this hexadecimal code to here, like this, and I'm going to click OK. So now, what's wrong with this picture? Well, I forgot to click load. So there's load that takes me to my new scene. And this one is about making a platform player an environment where the player runs and jumps. And this is crazy easy. You'd be bored almost. So I'm going to click here to make a new object, create, and here's my edit sprite. And I'm going to actually go browse for an object in the pixel block section. And real typical and common is a real grassy tile. So if I click on here, I got the edit piece, and I'm just going to click OK. Oh yeah, well, let's check physics. We don't want to move them. We're going to leave all these things the same. All these default pieces are just fine. It's not going to get any behavior. It's just going to be something we interact with. So now I'm going to take this one and clone, and I'm going to roll these out. And not a bad idea if you do something to keep them on board. So those will be off screen. We can't see them. And feel free to add a platform or whatever. Now, done cloning. So when you're cloning them, you want to make sure you click done cloning. And just so you know, they're also in the library, so you can actually get these from the library any old time. So next, I'm going to add a new object. The new object I'm going to make is going to be the player. So click here, and always name your pieces. I think I forgot to do it with the grassy piece. So I'm going to call this player, and I'm going to go edit sprite, and browse, select category, and characters. Now there's a few characters you could work with. And the thing to know is that they all have 3 frames. So each of these pieces, all these objects have 3 frames each. Some of them have 4, which is fun and exciting. And we're going to use something with arms and legs. So there's a boy character, a girl character, and some cats and dogs and what have you. I'm just going to pick this one here. And we're going to make this animated. So I'm going to click on this animate icon right here, the little film strip thing. It opens this up, and I'm going to name this new thing, I'm going to name it Run. Or Walk, or I don't know. Transport, I don't care what you call it. Say OK. And now we have this film strip up that says here's a bunch of things we can add. We're going to add a new frame, which just default grabs the previous, and you can redraw it if you want to, but they've kind of already taken care of that for us. So here's our next frame, new frame, and next frame. So now we've got these 3 pieces, and we can watch them playing over here. It looks pretty good. If you want it to go faster, then reduce the delay. Okay, so 3 and 4 works pretty good usually for me. And clicking OK. So the next thing I'm going to do is click OK, and if I test this by running it, like nothing happens. The character doesn't even fall, and I'm like, okay. So hit escape to go back to your editing screen. Click on this to edit the player, and then we're going to go to physics. So physics, we want the player to be movable, and we want them to be affected by gravity. So we say OK. Now the movable thing doesn't just mean that they move, because we tell them to. It also means they can be moved. So if an enemy bumps into them, they can be shoved. So if you turn that off, let's try and see what happens if that works. If we go back to physics and turn off movable, movable and gravity on are connected. So back to here, and now we're going to do behaviors. Now in the behaviors window, you can actually test this anytime by clicking on the play button here. And now my player does nothing. So there's actually a built-in set of behaviors in the behavior bundle section called run and jump. Now I've got some things in here that I added to mine that you don't have, but run and jump is available to everybody. So now if I play this, my player goes back and forth. But what about the running? They're not moving their arms and legs. So here all we have to do for that is add that animation to the action. So opening this up, here's the bunch of stuff. And just to explain what this does, there's a left and right keyboard action. That's a trigger. There's a trigger for up, which means they're going to jump. There's a collision that says only if they're on the ground. So the collision means they have to be touching something for the jumping to work. And then that sets this impulse that drives them up in the Y, at a rate of about 12 pixels per, I don't know, something. Now the left and right move -6 or +6 is for the velocity, and then there's a flipping that happens if we use one or the other. So they flipping back and forth when we use the left or the right to make them go back and forth to go back. So what we want to add to this is just one simple thing. In the properties section, you'll find, look, there's that film strip animation. And what we're going to do is say, when we press down, we're going to start to run. Now, by default, it's selected to run because it's the only animation this player has so far. So now, take the down and set that to start also. That's it. Now, if we move that all up and you run it, your player will go back and forth, and they stop running when we're not holding down the buttons. And that's it. That's the whole piece for this element. Thanks.